I grew up LDS in Southern California, and I grew up in a very faithful Mormon family, and I remember growing up in primary hearing the song, "As I Have Loved You, Love One Another." And deep inside, I always had this doubt whether that applied to me, because a little voice inside my head always said, if everybody really knew the real you, they wouldn't love you. And I remember at about 9 years old, an older boy in our ward came out, and it was a real big scandal in our ward. And I think it was the first time that I realized what the word gay meant, because I remember thinking that whatever that boy is, I am too, and it's obviously a really bad thing. And I got the very strong message that at that point in my life, I needed to hide who I was. And I took great pains to hide that, and I never told anybody. But from then on, whenever I heard the word gay or homosexual, there was an incredible amount of shame, because I knew it somehow applied to me, and I didn't share it with anybody, my family, my bishop, because I did not feel safe in doing so. So what I ended up doing was following the plan, the Mormon plan for me, and I went on a mission. I got married in the temple. I accepted every calling. I, ended up having children, and at one point was teaching early morning seminary, and I think was the executive secretary in the ward. And the realization hit me that I had set up for myself the perfect Mormon life, the perfect life. And yet, deep within me, there was an incredible amount of misery, because it wasn't the life it wasn't my life. It was another person's life. And I remember thinking to myself, not understanding why I was so unhappy, because I had all of the check marks. I had the mission, I had the temple marriage, I had the beautiful wife, and I had the beautiful children, I had the callings, and I read my scriptures every day and prayed and did all of the things. But deep, deep down inside, I was unhappy. And when I realized what this all came from, and admitted to I always knew I was gay, but there was a point when I admitted it to myself, and that point was one of the most thrilling days of my life. And then to come from then were times in my life, was a period of time in my life when I achieved more joy and more happiness than I ever thought was possible, just by acknowledging and loving myself for who I was. There was a lot of difficult time to come after that, and I would say that the people who I was afraid would not accept me or would be harsh with their judgment of me were those same people who would have been harsh and judgmental with me when I was a teenager, and it just delayed things 20 years. So I would tell you that the happiest and most peaceful I've ever felt in my life was when I loved myself for who I was, and I gave myself permission to recognize what the song says, "As I have loved you, love one another." And I think loving yourself is the biggest step that you can make in that. And when you do that, you'll find people who love you for who you really are will come out of the woodwork, and you'll find people who love the real you. And living on the outside in a way that's compatible with how you feel on the inside is the way I found the most peace than I've ever felt in my entire life.